Okay, here's another proof that we can practice from the concepts we're learning in Chapter 5. So we have this picture of a lot of different triangles here, and we're given that angle 2 is greater than angle 1, and angle 3 is greater than angle 4, and we're trying to prove that AB plus DE is greater than BE. So two sides greater than the sum of two sides being greater than a third side. And this thing we're trying to prove here should remind us of the triangle inequality theorem that says that any two sides of a triangle, the sum of them has to be greater than the third side. So we might be thinking of using that somewhere in this proof. All right, so if we just look kind of at what they're giving us here, they're telling us that angle 2 here is greater than angle 1. All right, so I'm just kind of thinking about what we're going to do before we start. And we know from that side AB is going to be bigger than side BC in this triangle right here. Since this angle is bigger, this side will be bigger. So I'm just going to make the bigger side pink and the smaller side red, just to kind of help us remember. All right, and then angle 3 and angle 4, they're saying angle 3 is bigger than angle 4. That means that side DE is going to be bigger than CE. So then you're going to have DE being bigger than CE. And I'm not saying that AB and DE are equal. I'm just making them pink so we can remember the pinks are the big ones and the reds are the smaller ones. All right, and so I think we're going to use that theorem that says that the sum of two bigger things is going to be bigger than the sum of two smaller things, which is the addition inequality theorem. The addition inequality theorem, I think. So we're going to find out that this plus this is bigger than this plus this. So two bigger things added together are going to be bigger than two smaller things added together. And then we're going to notice BE down here, which is what's here. We know that the sum of these two guys has to be bigger than this guy because this is a triangle. So the sum of any two sides has to be bigger than the third side. And since this sum will be bigger than this, then certainly this sum will be bigger than this because it's already bigger than that. All right, so that's kind of how we're going to reason this through. All right, so we're going to start, just like always, with our given. So we've got angle 2 is greater than angle 1, and angle 3 is greater than angle 4, and that is given. Oops, 1, given. All right, I'm going to just do the second step, and I'm going to say both of the things instead of doing two different steps. So I'll just say what this means with regards to the sides of this triangle and what this means with regard to the sides of this triangle. So if angle 2 is greater than angle 1, then AB is greater than BC. And if angle 3 is greater than angle 4, then DE, which is opposite to 3, has to be greater than CE, which is opposite of angle 4. All right, so that is because if two angles of a triangle are unequal, then the two sides opposite those angles are unequal in the same order. Okay, so since I know that AB and DE are the bigger ones and BC and CE are the smaller ones, then I can say that the sum of two bigger things has to be greater than the sum of two smaller things. Okay, and that is the addition inequality theorem. All right. So I've said that AB plus DE is bigger than BC plus CE now. And I know that BC plus CE has to be bigger than BE because that's the triangle inequality theorem. It says that the sum of any two sides of a triangle has to be bigger than the third side. So I'm going to say BC plus CE is greater than BE because of the triangle inequality theorem. Okay. So now I can see I've got BC plus CE here, and I've got BC plus CE here. So since this is bigger than this, and this is bigger than this is bigger than this. That's the transitive property. AB plus DE has to be greater than BE by the transitive property of inequality. So that's all there is to that. Now, you realize that there's no hope of doing these proofs if you don't know the theorems. You have to know these theorems by heart. So if you haven't learned the theorems yet, you really have to go back and learn those.